Hi, this is Kelly. I'm back to show you my latest project. I've been making altered dominoes for a swap that I joined that was on mini album scraps, and I just wanted to share with you what I came up with, and I'm going to show you how I did it. This is what I came up with, and I don't know if you can see it real well. I'll try and get it closer to the camera. The theme for this swap was dragons and butterflies, and we were open to our interpretation. We could either choose dragons or butterflies. I chose butterflies, and I'm going to share with you how I made this. Alright, so to start with, obviously you need a domino, and it's just a plain old plastic domino. You can use white or black, whichever works best for you. And I'm going to move that paper. And I'm going to alcohol ink this because that seems to stay on it the best. And I'm going to start with, I have ginger, alcohol ink, and gold mixative. And I'm just going to start by putting a good portion on here. Oops. There's the gold. And here's the ginger. And if you've never used alcohol inks before, they're really easy to use. They dry fast and they stay on plastic or glass or metal. And then you just move it around, daub it up till you get what you want. And like I said, the good thing about this is it dries really fast. And so you want to get all sides. Oh, and I forgot to mention, before I did this, I drilled holes in them, and when it's dry I'll show you the holes that I drilled. And to drill them, I just used my drill press. I know some people use a Dremel tool, other people use some sort of a vise and an electric drill. You know, it's just whatever you can use to drill the hole and hold it steady. And just cover it good, and you can come back later if you've missed a spot or your fingers have pulled something off. You can touch it up and add more ink to it. There we go. Okay, now I'm just going to set this. I'm going to just set it and let it dry pretty good. It only takes a few minutes. But anyways, while that's drying, I'm going to talk about the other things that I'm going to use. I'm going to use Rub and Buff. I'm going to use E6000 to glue my butterfly charm on. I have my charms already. I already put them together to save time. And for the top part of it, I'm using an eye screw. You just buy those at the hardware store. And I'm going to use a gold leafing pen. This is from Krylon. I really like these. These are cool. And I'm going to use glossy accents to seal it, and stickles. So, alright, I think this is pretty good now. Just touch up these spots where I touched. Now, as you can see, we've got the holes, and the ink doesn't go in the holes, and I don't particularly like the look of the holes like that, so that's what I use the gold leaf pen for. Just shake it up real well, and I just like to fill in the holes. If you can see that, I just fill the holes in with the gold, because particularly for the color that I'm using, I like the combination. You can get these pens that are not gold leaf pens or leafing pens. You can get them in just different colors if you wanted to do them in a different color. They're just a regular paint pen. Alright, Anyways, and you can see, I don't know if you can see the holes. I've drilled a hole in the bottom. This is my bottom. And then I've drilled a hole in the very top for my clasp. Alright, so that's done. Now I have this butterfly charm, and it's silver, and I don't want it to be silver, I want it to be gold, so that I'm going to use the Rub and Buff, and I simply take a little dab of it on my finger, and if I can get the lid back on, it doesn't want to go on straight, there we go. Alright, so basically you're just going to take your finger and smear it all over it, rub it on, get it in the cracks, and if this were showing, if any part of this was going to be showing, I would do the back side, but this one is not. And then I've got my handy toilet paper. I use toilet paper for everything rather than paper towels. It's just in my house more convenient. Alright, so that's done. Now I'm going to take the E6000, which is a glue for gluing on glass or metal. Get my lid off of it. And I'm simply just going to daub some glue on it. It doesn't take a whole lot. And while that oozes out, I'm going to just place that right in the middle. See if I can glue my lid on. Alright, now that does take a few minutes to dry. That probably takes 15-20 minutes for that to dry. But in the meantime, I'm going to show you how I also added stickles to it. Like I said, this was a really fast project. These came together really quick, and I just added some daubs of stickles down it, just to give it a little bit of sparkle. I like the sparkle. Okay, now when you're at this point, you got to set it aside and you've got to let it dry, because the stickles have to be dry and so does the glue before you can do anything else. But I have one here that is dry, and this one I want to show you how I seal it. This one I actually took my glossy accents. There's a couple of ways you can do this. You can use the glossy accents, and you can just outline the outside of it and then fill it in, and you can do that, but then you have to do it on each side. It takes quite a bit of time. I've actually done that on the front of this one, but after experimenting and playing with it, I came up with another way of putting it on. There is another technique that you can use to seal it. I have not tried it, but a lady, her YouTube call sign, whatever you want to call it, is Rach0113. No, wait, sorry. It was Mega Beads. Let's see if I can get that right. Mega Beads. And this is a technique that she uses, and it's using this pour-on, oh goodness, I can't remember what it's called, but it's, anyways, she used this stuff, and it's a little harder. I'm a little nervous to try and use it. Oh, it's resin. I'm sorry. It's a little, because once you mix it up, you have to use it. And I didn't want to mix them up and then waste all of it, so I decided to try and come up with a different solution that I wouldn't waste so much. So what I did is I took glossy accents and I poured them in this jar. Poured a bottle of it in this jar, and you can see, I don't know if you can see it, there's some bubbles in there, and to get rid of the bubbles, all you have to do is kind of tap it and those bubbles disappear. But I'm going to actually dip it in this glossy accents. That's why I poured it in the jar, so that there was more room. And then I'm going to let it just drip off. And that covered it really well. It covered it in one quick coat. I didn't have to sit and wait for it to dry or worry about any of that. So I just put it in the jar, kind of swirl it around, make sure it gets covered on all sides. flip it over, do the same thing on the back side. The hardest part on, because I don't have, if I put more glossy accents in here, it would probably cover faster, but, and then I'm just using a piece of a hanger to lift it with and hold it with, and I'm just going to hold it here for a minute and let it run off. And you can see, you'll be able to see it's coming off in kind of big globs. And you can kind of tap it on the, like you would if you were making chocolate, to get rid of dipping chocolates, to get the excess off. And once it really stops dripping, it's still dripping. I take a cup. It's still got a little more drip on it than I would like, but for the sake of time, I'm going to wipe a little bit of it off. And then I'm going to move it across, and then I just set it in my cup like that to dry. Now it will form, you will get a little bit on the bottom, and as it does, I just kind of pick it up and I bring it to the side of the cup, and I kind of wipe that excess off on the inside of the cup. And then I set it to dry. It takes several hours to dry, but I found that this worked really well for me. It was a lot faster. I didn't have to deal with the wait time in between. But then when I'm done, I'll just take a jump ring, and I'm using Tim Holtz jump rings. Put them through the hole, add my little charm that I've already made, and there it is. That's what it looks like when it's finished. I'm sure you could put another coat on it if you wanted it thicker, or you could even, I've even thought of just on the front going around. Here, I'll show you how I do that. I think I will do that. You just take the glossy accents and you just outline the domino and go around the butterfly, and this will give it a little thicker coat. But and if you didn't want to dip it, this is how you would do it on all three, on all however many sides. My brain's not working this morning, but you just kind of fill it in. I like to break it into sections. I found it's easier to fill it in. And then when it's dry, you're good to go. I've tried a couple of different techniques. There's a couple of other, there's a lot of really good YouTube channels that have other techniques. There's a lot of techniques you can use on this. This is just the particular one that I decided to try. But anyways, that's what it looks like when you do it that way. But anyways, I just wanted to share that with you and how I did it. There's my finished product. I've got to get these off and ready to go in the mail so I can get this swap completed. But if you have any questions, please don't hesitate to ask. They're a lot of fun. I've really had a lot of fun playing with them and trying different things. And I hope to talk to you again soon. Thanks. Bye.